This video is sponsored by Hungry Root. Buy this, not that, big box plant shopping edition. So right now I'm at Lowe's. I'm also going to check out Home Depot. And I'm going to be sharing which plants, based on the inventory that they have here, which plants I would stay away from, the reasons why, and which plants I would get instead. So just because a plant is at a shop or a big box shop doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the right fit for you. So I hope this video is helpful. Feel free to share which plants you stay away from and the reasons why, and which plants you would purchase instead and that you love having in your collection. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more planty videos in your newsfeed. We also have a great community on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Let's jump into it. Now, thank you to Hungry Root for partnering with me on today's video. Hungry Root is seriously one of the easiest ways to eat healthy. Think of them as your personal shopper and nutritionist, all wrapped into one. They take care of your weekly meal planning and grocery shopping by recommending healthy groceries and simple, delicious recipes tailored to your taste and goals. I started by filling out a quick quiz on their website, things like dietary preferences, goals, and favorite flavors. I added that my husband needs gluten-free meals, and we both lean towards high-protein options. Based on that, Hungry Root filled our cart with personalized groceries and recipes, and I could easily swap things in or out depending on what sounded good that week. They offer everything from quick 15-minute recipes to pre-made snacks, pre-made meals, and even more elaborate meals. You can even check out reviews from other users, which really helped me decide what to try. I could not believe how many groceries were fit into this box. It had snacks, it had lunch options, breakfast options, and it even had multiple dinner recipe options. So here you can see me make two recipes. The first is the honey lemon thyme salmon with asparagus, and it was so easy to make, so incredibly delicious. You can also see me make the steak and potatoes with salsa verde. Both were incredibly easy to make, the ingredients were top-notch, and the final meals were so flavorful. Again, these are recipes I'll definitely be making again. So if you're someone who's busy but still wants to eat well, Hungry Root makes it simple and stress-free. With over 15,000 recipes shipped every week, there's something for every taste, from anti-inflammatory and gut-friendly to dairy-free and gluten-free, and everything is free from artificial sweeteners, high-fructose corn syrup, and preservatives. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Click the link below or go to hungryroot.com and use code PLANTLIFE. That's 40% off your first box and a free item for life at hungryroot.com with code PLANTLIFE. Now please note that this is super subjective and it really depends on the person. It depends where you live. It depends on your plant parent style. To be honest, I love all plants and they are all awesome in their own ways. But I'm just basing this on my own experience as somebody who's taken care of plants for a number of years. So these are Calathea, and they're a very popular houseplant, mainly because they're really, really beautiful, vibrant leaves. And there are a lot of different varieties of these. This is another one, and they're about $20 for the other kind. This one is $12.98. And Calathea are pet friendly, which is really nice, but they can be fussy. Now these plants get a reputation for being fussy because they tend to crisp on the outside of the leaves a lot. And this is due to a number of things. First off is humidity. So these plants prefer higher humidity. They also enjoy distilled water. They have a hard time with the minerals in tap water. So you can water these with like rainwater, distilled water. I think a Maranta is a great option because if you're looking at Calathea for the pet-friendly aspect, Marantas are also pet-friendly. Now this is actually an uncommon or rare find, which is really exciting to find at a big box store. It's a variegated Maranta, which is absolutely beautiful, and they have it here for $5.98, so for $6, and they actually have a couple of them, so that's really great, and they still have beautiful, vibrant leaves. This is another Maranta variety called a silver band, which used to be pretty uncommon, but now we're seeing it at the big box shops. This is absolutely beautiful. It's also pet friendly. Any Maranta or prayer plant is going to be pet friendly, and I just love the look of these leaves. Now, these are called Crotons. They're very popular in the fall. You'll see big plants of these, and they're really gorgeous. I love the color of them. There's all different types of varieties. This one's called a Mammy Croton. It's a small one. It's $8.98. Here's another variety. This one has like really beautiful big leaves. However, these plants really struggle indoors. They need quite a bit of sunlight compared to what you can normally get with your indoor conditions. And they're also really prone to getting spider mites, which is a very difficult pest to get rid of. And it's also a type of pest that spreads easily amongst your other plants. But people really love these because of their vibrant leaves. So based on what they have here, here's what I'd get instead. This beautiful plant is called a Rex begonia. This variety is actually called Red Kiss, and there are lots of different types of Rex begonia. In my experience, I've had a lot of luck with them. They will get droopy when they're thirsty, water them when they're about halfway to fully dry, and you get that same like wow factor that you would get with the Crotons. Aglaonema are another wonderful plant. If you're looking for something with a pop of color, but you're wanting to stay away from the Crotons, this would also be a great option for Calathea for the same reason. Now, they're not pet friendly, but they're really easy to take care of. There are so many beautiful, colorful varieties. This one's $15.98, and it just has that gorgeous pink stem, pink leaves. I just love it. This plant is called a Xanthosoma, and it was really uncommon for a long time. It's really beautiful. I love the striped leaves. I have not had much success with this plant. I have added it to my collection a few times, but it seems to get spider mites every time. So if you love this plant, I would just recommend treating it with an insecticidal soap and just making sure you're purchasing a healthy one at the store that doesn't have spider mites before you bring it home. Here's what I would recommend instead of this plant. Now, Syngoniums still have that triangle-shaped leaf. There are lots of different varieties of this plant. This is a small one. You can get larger ones, but they're just a lot easier, in my experience, to take care of. If they get leggy, you can just like trim them back or prune it back, and the whole plant will come right back. Syngoniums are just awesome. I love them. Another good one right now is the Painted Lady, and they have a lot of these at this store, and this is one of the easiest philodendrons ever. It has that gorgeous leaf shape. It has pink stems. It's just a real cutie, and it's such a fabulous plant for $20. Definitely worth it. So this plant looks a lot like a fern, and it's sold as it's Selaginella emiliana, and it's absolutely beautiful, but these plants can crisp a lot. They don't like to be underwatered. They can be pretty fussy, and here's what I'd get instead. I'd recommend a rabbitfoot fern. Now, a rabbitfoot fern is pet friendly, and they have these cool little roots that are fuzzy. You can find them at most big box shops, and they're, in my experience, as far as ferns go, one of the easier care ferns compared to other ferns like the lemon button, which will drop leaves and crisp up for you. These are really great. Ivy are some of the most popular plants that I see at big box shops. I mean, they're just everywhere. They're in these little plants, they're in hanging baskets, but they are so difficult to take care of indoors. They are really prone to spider mites, and I don't know many people that have these in their collection and sing the praises, but there are a lot of great plants that you can get instead. First recommendation is a pothos. This is widely regarded as one of the best houseplants you can have in your collection. They're so easy to propagate. They aren't pet friendly though, just so you know. This one's $12.98, and it's a golden pothos, and it's absolutely beautiful. This is a lipstick plant, and there are lots of different varieties like there are with pothos, but these are really, really great. This is actually a variegated lipstick plant. You can see here the leaves have a little bit of variegation. I think if this one were to get more sunlight, it would promote the variegation even more. Variegation is the white on the leaves. This one's $20, and what's nice is lipstick plants actually bloom. They're just wonderful, and there are a few different varieties here right now. This one is a gracilis, which is a cutie for $17, and they also have this Mona Lisa lipstick plant. Now here we have orchids. Orchids are amazing. I'm definitely not saying don't buy orchids because I love them, but I know that it can be a hassle or a struggle with taking care of them, trying to get it to bloom again. I get a lot of questions about orchids. So if you're wanting something that's a little bit easier and that the blooms last a really long time but gives you that pop of color, here's what I'd get. They don't have a lot of bromeliads here right now, which is surprising because it's such a popular plant, but I would recommend a bromeliad. The blooms can last 6 months to a year or longer. Here's another one. You know, they're easy to take care of. You just want to water them actually in the leaves, which is called the tank. And these plants are amazing. They put off pups so you can propagate them. They come in so many colors and amazing varieties. They're really great houseplants. So this is a type of Alocasia. I'm not sure of the variety, but Alocasias are very popular houseplants. They are prone to pests and pest issues. They also need quite a bit of light. They're sensitive with watering. They're just a little bit on the higher maintenance when it comes to plants. They're some of the most beautiful, but some of the most high maintenance. Here's what I'd recommend instead. So if you like this Alocasia for the silvery leaves, here's another silvery plant, which is actually a cool plant to see. It's a type of Scindapsus. It's called a Platinum Java Scindapsus. It's $20. Scindapsus are just widely regarded as some of the easiest plants that you can bring in your home. There are lots of different varieties of this plant, and this is so beautiful. I would bring this home in 2 seconds. I'd also recommend philodendron over Alocasia. They have a few different options here. They have this gorgeous, what could be like a Rojo Congo. They also have like a variegated philodendron here, which is absolutely beautiful for $20. This is a lemon button fern, and it's really beautiful, but if this one is underwatered at all, it's going to start dropping leaves all over the place. The leaves are going to crisp up. It's a little bit tricky, so here's a fern I would get instead. This is a type of bird's nest fern, and there are lots of different bird's nest ferns out there. They're just a lot more tolerant to drought. And in my opinion, they're equally as beautiful. They're pet friendly, which is really nice. And you can find them just about anywhere, the bird's nest fern. They have like hurricane bird's nest ferns, all sorts of cool ones. 10 out of 10 recommend these plants. With some of these plants, it's so hard to say maybe not because I love them so much. This is one of those plants. Like this Begonia maculata whitei is one of my favorites. I love it so much. It's so beautiful, but it is a little bit higher maintenance compared to some other plants. So if you see crisping on this plant, it does need like 65% humidity or higher. It can't endure long periods of drought, so water it when it's about halfway dry. I don't find that they're prone to pests, which is really nice. They're just a little bit higher maintenance when it comes to the care. They do need a certain amount of light. So here's what I'd get instead if you're a little nervous about this beautiful plant. Again, going back to maybe a variegated philodendron that has, you know, like the little white spots on the leaves, but is going to be a lot easier with care. You could even do a variegated pothos. I know the leaves aren't the same shape, but it still gives that like wow factor with the gorgeous like variegated leaves, and it's going to be so easy compared to the begonia. You could also do like a peace lily. Peace lilies are great houseplants. I'm a big fan, and there are lots of new varieties coming out that have some like something extra fun with the leaves. This one is an example of that. It's kind of newer to the market, and it's a peace lily, so it's easy care like peace lilies, but it has these gorgeous markings on the leaves. Another plant here that I would definitely stay away from that they have in stock is a sago palm. I don't know why they sell these plants. I think because they're really cute and they look like mini palm trees, and they're somewhat easy care, but they're so incredibly toxic and poisonous, especially for animals. And it's not like a little gastrointestinal upset, they're literally fatal. So instead of something like this, I would go with this. This is called a ponytail palm. It's still, you can buy them where they're cute, little, compact, like the sago palm, but they're pet friendly. Honestly, they're just the best. And you can find ponytail palms at most big box shops. This is another popular type of palm that a lot of people have, and they have them because they're inexpensive, they're beautiful, and they're pet friendly. However, they are very prone to spider mites. They can be difficult to, I know they say they're easy care, but they have to have the right types of conditions in your home to thrive. So maybe instead of something like this, if you're looking for a tree kind of tropical looking plant, go with this instead. You could go with a money tree plant. These are really great. These are also pet friendly. They're maybe a little bit more expensive than the other types of like parlor palm, majesty palms, but they're going to be easier to take care of. You could also do a really big Dracaena. They're not pet friendly, but they're so easy. I think they're also known as yucca plant. Super, super popular. Absolutely beautiful. Here's another one that I'm hesitant to say don't buy it because I literally love fiddly figs so much. I'll always have them in my collection, but it's good to know that these are sensitive to changes in their environment. And what they'll do is drop their leaves. So they're known to be kind of fussy. To me, they're worth it, but I just know that they can be difficult. Even me, like mine drops leaves if it gets a change of temperature, change of location, change of light, change in season. So just keep that in mind, that they might need a little extra TLC, a little higher maintenance. But if you're wanting kind of something similar that might be a little bit easier care, you could go with something like this, which is a bird of paradise. They're just a little bit less sensitive than the fiddle leaf fig, but it gives you that beautiful tree in your home, the tropical look, and they're going to be a little bit more tolerant to changes in environment than fiddle leaf fig. Here's another type of ficus that I've experienced to be a little bit on the fussier side, and it's a ficus Audrey. So maybe instead of that, you could get something like... This table actually has a lot of really great options for houseplants. So Monstera deliciosa, always super popular, really easy to take care of. This one's $29 for a nice size one. You could go with like a peace lily. Aglaonema is great, or even a jungle boogie. This is a fun philodendron that has gorgeous shaped leaves. So I did find another Calathea variety, and it's so cute, but this one's definitely going to be difficult. You can see it's already crisping on the edges of the leaves. So instead, you could do something like a ZZ plant. Now ZZs aren't pet friendly, but they're literally the lowest maintenance plants ever. Like, they are the best. Speaking of low maintenance, snake plants. Always a 10 out of 10 with easy to take care of plants. I see these all the time at big box shops. They're known as waffle plants. This one is a variegated waffle plant, and they're just notorious for crisping and being difficult to take care of. Instead of that, I'd recommend going for a Hoya. Hoya are pet friendly. They're really easy to take care of, and they're just really great plants, and they bloom as well, which is fun. This one's $16, and it's a Hoya Bertone. This is another great plant. It's a type of lipstick plant, and it's a black pagoda. And it has the most interesting colors on the leaves, and the blooms are really beautiful if you like the waffle plant for the interesting colors on the leaves. This is another plant that I think struggles with indoors unless it has the right conditions. These are really popular for outdoor plants in Florida, like a lot of these tropical plants. But here's what I'd get instead. This is a type of Scindapsus, and I showed another kind before. This is another kind that they have on hand here that would be a great addition, very easy to take care of. This is another type of pothos called a Baltic Blue that would be amazing to add to the collection. Again, variegated pothos are always a great addition. I think this one is like lemon meringue or global green. All right, I've just arrived at Home Depot, and let's see what they have going on here now. Gosh, they have so many beautiful houseplants. Here's another variety of those angel wing begonias. I mentioned the Begonia maculata whitei. It's actually really exciting to see some of these other varieties at a big box shop, but just keep in mind these will be a little bit higher maintenance. You could do something like an Aglaonema, and they have a lot more varieties here. Like this one has little polka dots all over it like the begonia does, but the Aglaonema is going to be way easier to care. It's not going to need the humidity that the begonia is going to need. It can handle lower light than the begonia will. So keep an eye out for some really beautiful Aglaonema varieties if you like the way the begonias look and you like the different the colors on the leaves. Here's another one that could be great. They have so many beautiful plants here. Oh my goodness. This is one called a peacock moss, and it's called that because when it's in the light, it has this peacock color, bluish tinge to it. However, these are notoriously difficult to take care of. However, you could do something like a spider plant. These are great hanging plants, and they put off little pups, which are easy to propagate. Here's some Hoya. These make great hanging plants. These are pet friendly, absolutely beautiful. These are Hoya carnosa crimson princess because the variegation's on the inside of the leaves. And these are, how much? $4.98. Here's a spider plant that has pups on it that I was mentioning. Really good hanging plants. This is called an Epischia, and I'm seeing them more and more in big box shops, and they're really cool plants. I do love them, but they're going to be really, really difficult if you are underwater of your plants. They do need higher humidity. They're just, I've had a few of these and they just always seem to struggle. However, right next to it is an absolutely opposite end of the spectrum plant, which is so easy that you'll forget you even freaking have it in your collection because it needs nothing. And that's the Scindapsus pictus. I think this one might be an Argyris or a Silvery Ann variety. And they're absolutely beautiful. When it gets thirsty, the leaves will curl up like this. So that can indicate that it's, you know, thirsty. Really, really great plant. Here we have another Alocasia variety. This one is really cool. It's called an Alocasia zebrina because it has the zebra stripe shapes or coloration on the stems. Really lovely Alocasia, also very prone to spider mites and very difficult to take care of in your home. These are some other Alocasia or Colocasia that they're just gonna do so much better outside. So if you love Alocasia, put them outside, especially in the summer. They're just going to do so much better. And they're going to be less prone to pests. But if you like the way that this looks, here's something that's not far off. The leaf shape's a little bit different, but this is a type of philodendron. It's really gorgeous, and it's a climber. So you can give it a moss pole and it'll climb and be so, so happy. I think this is a philodendron Florida green. Yes, it's a Florida green. It's $30, absolutely beautiful. Here's another houseplant that I see a lot of people go for because of the pink leaves. It's a type of cordyline. And here's another one that's smaller. And as far as price, this small one is $12.98. They're beautiful, but they tend to do better outdoors than indoors. This is another one where you could maybe go with like a snake plant, which would be really great. You could go for like an Aglaonema if you like the really beautiful pink color. Again, would stay away from the Crotons. I know they're really pretty, but they're very difficult. Ooh, you could do something like this Ficus tenaceae. Now this plant is going to need quite a bit of light. Here's a Ficus ruby, which has the beautiful pink leaves. As long as you give this plant a good amount of light, they're actually not that difficult to take care of, and you still get that beautiful pop of pink like you would with the cordyline. But this one is going to be able to handle your indoors better. Just make sure you have it near a window and you water it when it's about halfway to fully dry. Wow, see how pretty they are? You know, like the fiddle leaf fig, you don't want to move these plants around too much or change the conditions all the time because they may start dropping leaves. But all in all, these are really great houseplants. So if you want something cactusy in your house and you're just looking for that desert vibe, a lot of people will kind of look at this type of plant, which is called a euphorbia, and go for that, and which is great. However, euphorbia are highly, highly toxic, and maybe instead of a euphorbia, you could go for something like an opuntia, which isn't going to be toxic. You could also do something like an aloe, which has a lot of beautiful, like medicinal benefits. So this looks like it might be a string of bananas, a string of hooks, and you have probably heard of string of pearls. They can be a little bit on the tricky side with watering and care, but if you move over here, you can see a burro's tail, which means donkey tail, and these are, in my experience, a little bit easier than the string of. You could also get a string of hearts, which I don't think they have here, and string of hearts are really great. I hate to do it. Here's another plant that I love, that I have in my collection, that I am obsessed with, called a UFO plant, or a Pilea peperomioides. And it's really, really great, but it can be difficult to like nail down the care on this plant. It likes a good amount of light. It doesn't want to be in too many like periods of drought. It's great to propagate, but like I said, it can take a little while to get the hang of this one. They have it here for $12.98. A heartleaf philodendron is going to be a lot easier if you're, you know, starting out new to plants, and you're just looking for something that's going to be a great fit in your house that you're not going to have to tend to all the time. Something like this will be great. Ooh, here's another one that is tricky, and it's called a Fittonia, and they're famous for the Fittonia flop, where they are very dramatic and will look like they're dying. I'm sorry for the background noise, it's raining really hard here. But then they bounce right back, but they can be a little bit tricky. They are pet friendly though, which is nice. Instead, you could do something like this. This is a Peperomia obtusifolia. I think this is the marble variegated variety. These are also pet friendly like the Fittonia, but they're far more drought tolerant. And plants that have thick leaves are typically more tolerant to drought. These are really great, easy care plants. This is another Peperomia called a Peperomia Ginny. Also pet friendly. That would be a great option. Wow, it's really coming down out there. So there you have it. Based on the plants that they had at Lowe's and Home Depot, those are the plants I would stay away from and what I would get instead. Now again, I wouldn't 100% write off any of the plants that I mentioned that I stay away from today, because it's so subjective depending on the type of plant parent you are, the conditions in your home, etc., etc. But it's still kind of good to know what you're getting yourself into when you're picking out a plant to bring home. I always recommend doing a little bit of research, and also don't be too hard on yourselves, because it is such a journey being somebody who's interested in and passionate about plants. We all make mistakes, so don't, again, be hard on yourself. Just have fun with it, and subscribe if you want to see future planty videos in your newsfeed. Again, we have a great community on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I hope you have the best day ever, and that I get to see you soon. Bye.